Hello everyone, today we're going to be looking at the basics of how any computer works. Let's dive right into this. Before I get into the actual hardware components of any given computer, I'm first going to go over the basics on paper. In the center and inside of any computer is a motherboard. It is a printed circuit board that sends and receives all of the signals and information on a given computer. On a motherboard is a CPU, which are the heart of a computer. It sends the information and runs all the processes on it. Coming off of the motherboard is the hard drive. The hard drive is what has all of your information, your files, your operating system, and it stores all that on there. On your motherboard as well is sticks of RAM. This is your memory, which saves the short-term memory files and processes. So anything that you may be running and not saved yet, that is all stored on your RAM. And to power the whole thing is a power supply, also called a PSU. It quite simply is plugged into the motherboard and a power outlet is run out of it. And that is the basics on how a computer works. Now let's get into the actual hardware. First, we have the motherboard. This is the printed circuit board I was telling you about earlier. As you can see here, this is the CPU slot. These are the RAM slots. This is the cooling system for the CPU because it tends to overheat. These are the graphics card slots, which we will be talking about in another video. These are the input-output ports, or I/O ports, which are for your mouse, your keyboard, your speakers, your microphone, any of that. Here is where your power supply plugs in, and these down here is where your hard drive plugs in, and that is about it for the motherboard. This is a desktop CPU. It's quite small, not very thick. It's a close-up of it. And it goes in the motherboard that I just showed you earlier. This is an even smaller laptop CPU. It fits in any laptop motherboard. I will be showing you one of those another time. So like I said, this is the heart of any computer. That's it. It just runs on this. All of the processes, anything that runs on your computer runs through the CPU. A typical desktop hard drive looks like this. It's 3.5 inches. I don't know why it's called that. It's more than 3.5 inches. It's decently thick. It's got a little circuit board on the bottom. These are the plugs that it plugs into the motherboard with. And this is a laptop hard drive. It's much smaller, as you can see, roughly half the size. It's called a 2.5 inch. And it's got the same ports on the top, same circuit board on the bottom, and it's literally just a smaller version of it. This is RAM. Probably one of my favorite components to any computer. We got desktop and laptop RAM. As you can see, just like the hard drive, the laptop RAM is half the size. They are very thin each. They have little cells on them, which is the actual memory where it's stored. So that's just about it to know for RAM. Power supplies. This is a desktop power supply. It runs through here. This is the power outlet cable. You get a cable, one end plugs into here, the other end plugs into an outlet. This end here is where it plugs into the motherboard. And actually, these ends plug into part of the hard drive to power the hard drive up because it too needs power. There's more of these. So that's it for a desktop power supply, but a laptop power supply looks quite different. This is a laptop charger. It's sort of like it's got a power plug, it plugs right into the computer, but it's different. It's not the same. The computer, when not plugged in, runs off of battery power, laptops at least. So this is only sort of like the power supply. I did the drawing earlier for you guys, but in case that wasn't enough, I'm going to be putting up a picture of the inside of a desktop computer now. As you can see, all of the components are put together the way they should be. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. See you next time.